Seats. It's great to sing together and to be together today. And let's be opening our Bibles to the book of Matthew chapter 6. And if you don't have a Bible, just scoot up next to someone that does, or swipe to it, you digital experts, you. Spiritual digital people. You guys doing all right? So Matthew chapter 6, we'll start in just a minute. So, anyone familiar with this logo? So there's a game on today, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah? Anyone going to watch that?
Yep. Yes, sir.
No? People are refusing?
Absolutely watching.
If Jeremy Lin's not playing, you're not going to watch? So how many people do you think will watch this all together? Any guesses?
Millions.
Total TV viewership.
Millions.
10.6 million.
Too many? 15 million? 50 million? 50? All right, any others? Any other guesses? 51? 10 million, just 10 million. Now, how about this one? You familiar with this one? Oh, wow.
Daytona,
Okay.
500.
How many, you know there's something going on today with this too, right?
Daytona.
What's this one? All right, there you go. Daytona, right? Okay, so how many people do you think are watching this one today?
20. More than NBA. Way more. 22.
Someone said 25 million. You think higher or lower?
22.
Higher? 100 million? They estimate 15 million, 1-5. Just a few more million.
It's already good.
You guys shocked by that?
Yes.
Okay. And then, you know about this thing, right? Okay. We are in New York, I guess. Makes sense. How many do you think they estimate will watch this today?
100.
100 million? Did you say 1 billion? It's 40 million, which is a lot. So, you know, maybe it's not exactly what you thought it was going to be, but it's quite a lot more than the other two. Interesting how they put all these on TV today, right? Yeah. Maybe a mistake, I don't know. Maybe it's on purpose. I have no idea. I don't know how these things work. But today I thought we would focus on the thing that the most people are watching. You know, we could definitely have some good conversations about Daytona 500 and about Jeremy Lin too. We could do several talks on Jeremy. But today we'll talk a little bit about the Academy Awards. And before we do that, I want to rewind the tape about 2,000 years. And before there was this dude, Oscar, there was this dude, Jesus. And this is a map of what was going on in his hometown 2,000 years ago. You guys know where he lived, right? And so this is kind of his area. And there was a city nearby, about 3 miles maybe away from Nazareth, by the name of Sepphoris. You guys know about this city? Sepphoris? Now let me circle it there so you guys can see it. So Sepphoris is about 3 miles up. So, you know, normal little walk. And, you know, Nazareth was just a small little town. I mean, where Jesus was at, maybe 200 people in his village. I mean, we're talking very, very small town. Everybody knew each other. Everyone knows your business. You know, everyone knows who likes who and all that kind of stuff. You know, although then you have arranged marriages. So, you know, everybody knows. Yeah. So Sepphoris is an interesting city because that's where it was kind of a bustling metropolis of trade and culture. They were well known in Sepphoris for their the plays that they put on, and you know they had the little arenas that they created for entertainment and amphitheaters and things like that. And probably a lot of scholars argue that if Jesus grew up doing some carpentry work with his father Joseph, any kind of trade that they probably had or business probably took place predominantly in this nearby city. That's where a lot of things were happening at that time. Things were being built. Things were being built up. It was a city kind of, you know, like any normal city would, although Nazareth was sort of just a sleepy little town. So It's interesting because if you read Josephus's Antiquities or the History of the Jews, or if you read some of the historical accounts of Sepphoris, you find that Greek culture is really prominent. And so all the Jews are learning how to speak Greek, and it's really, the culture of the Hellenistic Greeks really just taking over the city. Now, what does that mean? It means they're learning a language. It means they're learning about culture. And it means that there's probably at some point some conflict between their own culture and the Jews and the culture that the Greeks were introducing. Sometimes there was a conflict that was easily worked out. We'll accept that cultural difference and we'll move forward. Other times it was a major conflict. One of the things that they learned was new words. New words. You ever go to a new country and you learn some new words? That can be kind of dangerous, right? Sometimes they say you know enough of a language to be dangerous. I spent a little bit of time in Kiev, Ukraine, and I knew enough to get dangerous. And I probably said some things that offended some people. I thought it was like, hello, how you doing? And they looked like really angry. They're going to fight me. So I learned how to say I'm sorry. And I already forgot how to say it. So, spasiba. That's thank you. But one of the things they learned was a word, and we're familiar with this word in the English, but in the Greek it sounds like Hippocrates, or Hippocrates. And this is a word that is a very interesting word because it's a word that is adopted by the Jews, and even we find it in the Bible, right? The word hypocrite. And we have a pretty clear idea, probably hearing that word, what that word means. And we're going to really study this out. And I want to actually show you a quote from the Tyndale Bible Dictionary that I found fascinating that might shed a little bit of new light on this word hypocrisy. It says hypocrisy, as first used by the Greeks, Hippocrates, was a neutral word. In its verb form, it meant to explain, to interpret, or to expound. Although the noun hypocrisy could mean answer, the other noun form, hypocrite, almost always means actor, and probably came from the verb meaning to expound. Now you're with me so far, right?
Yeah.
So actor. So far, it's talking about it in a neutral sense, right? Someone who could explain something or interpret something or act something out. It says originally, a hypocrite could be a speaker or actor who interpreted the words of a poet or the music of a composer. Or the actor or hypocrite tried to make intelligible for his audience what the poet or composer had written. A good hypocrite faithfully interpreted his assigned role, while an undesirable hypocrite interpreted his role poorly. And rather than pursue an authentic inward holiness, now we're talking about some of the biblical references to this word, the religious hypocrites distorted righteousness into a rigid mold whose chief usefulness was exhibition before people. The hypocrites who claimed to interpret God to humans actually misrepresented him. All right. So, we're going to talk today about being good actors as opposed to being bad actors. And perhaps, as this was a neutral word used 2,000 years ago, we know that in the context that Jesus is about to talk about in Matthew chapter 6, it's used in a negative context, isn't it? Let's look there now and read together. See, as a good actor, someone makes you believe that they're really that person, don't they? Name a movie where you saw an actor give such a good performance that you felt like you were really watching the person. Yeah, Greg?
Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady.
Okay, Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady, Melvin? Jamie Foxx and Ray, Baron? Same one? A lot of you guys will think of it?
Denzel, Malcolm X.
Denzel, Malcolm X, fantastic. Yep, Sabrina? What's Love Got to Do with It? Angela Bassett, phenomenal performance, yes? Okay, is that Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. Okay, Ali with... So many performances, right? That you didn't feel at some point like you were watching Will Smith or Denzel or Angela Bassett, but that you were watching who they were playing, right? That's a powerful thing that an actor can do. Recently, I went with a couple people to the movie Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close.
Yeah.
And man, be forewarned, if you haven't seen this one, we were just weeping in our seats. It was a very intense movie. And Thomas Horn This kid is 14 years old. And he had never acted in his life. And he was the lead in this feature movie. And, I mean, Tom Hanks is in it, and Sandra Bullock, and I mean, he is the lead. 14 years old, never acted before, and he was on Jeopardy. That's how they found him, like Kid Jeopardy. He won like 30 grand on Kid Jeopardy. And he's just kind of this really smart, awkward kind of kid. And what's so crazy is that when you're watching the movie, what's so convincing is that he's playing like a 14-year-old kind of awkward, smart little kid. And you're convinced, at least I was, just taken in to the narrative of the story. I thought, this is unreal. How did he do it? Well, maybe he was just playing himself. And maybe that was what the power was accessing that character through his own experience. Now, what makes a bad actor? We have a lot of actors in the room. What makes a bad actor? You tell me. No one wants to go there? Mark?
When they don't listen to the other people they're acting with. They're just kind of doing their own thing without really listening to the other people in the scene.
Doing their own thing, not listening. Okay, very good, yeah? Say the lines the same way every time. The same lines every time. Yeah, Em? They put you to sleep? It's just boring? Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah?
When they go off stereotypes and their accents are horrible.
Okay, the accents are bad and they're stereotyping. Whoa, that can get really crazy, right? Really bad. Okay, Charles? Overacting. Yeah, Tamu.
I find when they don't take time to have a backstory,
No context. Okay, we got to read this now. Okay. My goodness, we're getting so into this discussion. No, wait, I guess I have more stuff to share. Okay, here's a good one. Jimmy Stewart, before we get into the Bible, Jimmy Stewart said it's well done if you can do a part and not have the acting show. Another one, Kiefer Sutherland says, the most significant piece of advice my father gave, Don Sutherland, a fantastic actor, his dad, gave me early on about acting was, don't get caught acting. What's the point? See, there's a distinction being made. It's a neutral term originally, and my contention is that perhaps there is a way to represent well and do the role well and represent God well. And then there's a way to misrepresent God and to be a bad actor and not do a good job. Matthew chapter 6. God is calling us to be ambassadors for Him, to be advocates for Him, to interpret the text for others. Someone who is studying, imitating, and acting like Jesus. Matthew chapter 6, verse 1, Jesus says to them, be careful, do not do your acts of righteousness before men, to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. Verse 2, so when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. Drop down in verse 5, when you pray, don't be like the hypocrites. Don't be like the bad actors, because they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they've received their reward in full. But when you pray, go to your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who's unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. When you pray, don't keep on babbling like the pagans, for they'll think they'll be heard because of their many words. In verse 16, it says the word again, when you fast, do not look somber as the hypocrites do, for they disfigure their faces to show men that they're fasting. It's a good example of overacting. I tell you the truth, they've received their reward in full. But when you fast, put oil on your head, wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to men that you're fasting, but only to your Father who's unseen. And your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you.